Yes, and it's challenging for me, I think, because my dog is so used to saying like, "Okay, I give up," or I'm not gonna do it anymore because I've overcorrected her so much, and she goes into avoidance so fast. So,
Hmm.
it's a little challenging for me to work with her because, I mean, she so quickly will stop trying and go into the avoidance or go into the lag. And and without the food, that's the only thing, the food, I'm using it as a crutch because it's a motivator for her. Without it, because we don't have that proper bond, it's hard to teach her what I need to teach her because I don't have the experience to know how to stop the avoidance without the food.
Are you ready for a little bit of honest, like hard truth?
Yep.
You
Mm-hmm.
sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Your dog only really trusts you in a few different places. What are they?
Right. When I don't have a leash on her,
Nope.
um,
Nope. Nope.
really?
Nope. 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 Nope.
With the harness on? I know
Yeah.
she trusts me
One.
with the harness on.
Yeah. Absolutely. See, and
Hmm.
that's the thing. You need her when the harness is on,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? And she's
Yep.
literally your eyes. She's leading you,
Yeah.
right? So she puts herself aside to serve your needs, and she's very good at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing at it.
Okay. So yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Where's the other
Mm-hmm.
places?
Well, I don't do it anymore, but when I was playing with her with toys,
Yep. Absolutely. Why? So why?
I mean, because I mean, she was getting what she wanted.
No, not her. You.
Hmm. Because we were both having fun. I was enjoying myself when I was playing with her.
There's no corrections.
Hmm. It's true.
The, the,
Yeah.
the
Or
object, the
very little.
pile of toys that you have, the place where you're playing,
Mm-hmm.
how you're acting are all movement is dialogue. So she's like, okay, I understand this. Imagine if she understood obedience for
Yeah.
you
Like that.
in the same way
Yep.
she understands with the toy, the game of the toy, and the game with the harness on. So that's the clarity. So
Right.
where's the third place?
When I feed her, I think
Yeah, when you have
when I
food.
feed her
Yeah.
like food, like lunch or
Okay.
especially because she'll do her obedience in 2 seconds. Like it's not a problem when I'm doing
Yeah, of
food and obedience.
course. And it's not
Yep.
it's not solely because of the food. It's because your actions are clear. Your expectations are clear. You two have figured all that shit out. You've been consistent with it, right?
Yeah.
When you aren't giving to her,
Yep. Yeah, because it's toys, it's food.
right? With the exception of the harness, when you're not
Yeah.
giving to her, you're trying to take it from her.
Yeah. Yep.
And when you start to take it, she doesn't understand it. And
Mm-hmm.
remember, this dog's had the brakes corrected off her by the people
Yep.
who raised her, and you've made some inappropriates. That's the other thing we got to
Yep.
start doing is that everybody who makes an inappropriate correction should not be vilified on the internet for doing that. They should be
Right.
taught. They should be like, well, wait, why did you do that? Right. But then the
Right.
other side of it is you could make a stellar correction that's very behavioral and very appropriate, and people wouldn't understand that. So
Right.
they would get mad at you for that, right? But it's
Yep.
like that whole correction video that's on Patreon. I would never put that out on social media
Oh
because,
no.
well, no, and it's not. It's a video that helps people start to understand what correction means and how powerful it is. And but now you've got people in feelings who are like, we only do our corrections like this, or we don't use corrections at all. We use food and the toy. But the
Yeah.
difference is, and this is the problem you're having, if you pick electricity or a motivator exclusively, you're not ever
Mm-hmm.
going to get the dog to understand you. You're going to get the
Yeah.
dog to understand the pattern. You're going to get the dog to understand the food, the situation. Everybody now has all this information coming into them, and they can kind of pick their favorite, and they don't have to see where they suck at communication. They just go to another
Right.
trainer or get a medication. So when you look at the this all goes back to, it's going to take a long time for you to get it. No, I
Right.
believe you already have it. I just believe that you have to widen that gaze a little bit and see more of, you have food, toy, harness, and you and that dog are fine.
Mhm.
You take those away, and the dog doesn't understand you.
Yeah.
And that's because the dog has not been taught to live outside of that harness effectively. So that's why the dog
Right.
counter surfs. That's why the dog lags. That's why, she gets distracted by other shit. When that harness goes on, she's like, I get it. If you look at your whole relationship with the dog, and you have one of the only legitimate jobs left for a dog, but the minute
Mhm.
your emotions come into it, because you want to make the dog happy, or you miss the dog, or you're mad at the dog, that's when the wheels come off. The communication you're getting from that dog when it's in the harness is life-saving. It's trust.
Mhm.
It's clarity, trust, and respect. The minute you take that harness off, you can't get the same thing out of the dog,
Right.
right? Well, you're going to get
Yeah, I
angry with
can't.
that, right?
I can't even get
So,
close. Frustrated,
right.
yeah.
Right. And the reason you're frustrated is because of the way you are taught to communicate, the way you're
Yeah.
communicating, and the way the dog perceives stuff. So if you look, I mean, that's the blessing here, is that this dog is automatic. That's nothing I ever did. That's all you.
Hmm.
That's all you, right? Because your life depended on it, literally.
Yeah.
You were very clear about that relationship, yes?
I was.
That
Yep.
harness isn't the leash. When you start
Yeah.
correcting on the leash, when you make these big movements like this, or they hear you hook up, you've never corrected her from the guide harness.
Nope.
It's only a correction on the leash, and it's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
So think
It's
about
usually more a
that. Think about,
suggestion. Mhm.
yeah, right. But if you think about that, when you're off leash, you tell her in the house that she's off duty. Go ahead. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, there's a fucking pile of toys in the backyard, and
Yeah, they're gone. They've been gone for 2 months, I
no, I
promise.
get it, I get it. But what I'm saying is, how clear is that? All you have to do
Yep.
is once, and now they want to go back, And so
Yeah.
the dog gets that, and the problem, if you keep backing it out and looking at how the dog sees it, you can start to see, and that's what I'm trying to get you to do, is to see that
Right.
using techniques with food, yeah, you're getting something. Your execution is off, but
I know.
what the dog is seeing is, oh my God, it's food. Even if there's a leash on, both your hands are fucking around with food. What I was trying to do in the beginning is get you and the dog to have a relationship that's very clear. Now, when you groom that dog, that's the clearest your relationship is.
Yeah.
Without food, without the harness, and without the toys. Why?
Yep. Because I changed. I got to get it done. I know what I'm
Because
doing.
you know what to do. You know, no matter what happens, the dog's got to go through it. You don't feel
Mhm.
bad for the dog, because that's being a parent, which is, you got to take a bath, you got to take a shower, you got to go to the dentist, you got to get a shot. It's when you
Yeah.
turn into a nurturer that your dog is doing what?
Taking advantage, being an opportunist, or
Mistaking
I
your
guess.
kindness for weakness. And
Right.
so then you'll get mad and you put the leash on, and then the corrections start to come, and that's like dad picking up the belt. It's look, what are you, 104 pounds soaking wet with rocks in your pockets? Like, I'm not worried about you beating the brakes off the dog.
Right.
You have a dog that's on the softer side. So
Hmm.
you're not going to see her challenge you over corrections, right?
No,
But if
she'd
you
just
were out
back off.
here,
Yeah.
right, if you were out here, I'd take your blind ass and give you my Malinois for a little while and let you correct her. And I'd
I'd
go, so
learn
we're
from
on
her
the way to the
lessons.
hospital. What'd you learn
Yeah.
about corrections, right? So,
Yeah.
Use it.
because it must be a hell of a thing to have a dog that's sharp when you can't see the dog. Like, woo! So you better
Yeah.
develop feel, and feel is what I'm trying to get you to understand. So
Hmm.
you've gone away from what I thought the original problem is. We talked about this last week, and
Yeah, we
I
did.
thought it was to just get the separation anxiety under control. The
Yeah.
problem is everything you are doing is going to make the separation anxiety worse.
Okay.
You know why? Tell me, dog trainer.
Uh, because I'm making me more valuable right now with the food.
You're making the food more valuable and you're just the butler.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
if you keep doing fun things that require you and the dog really isn't looking at you, example A, the toys, example B, the
Yeah.
food. And if you go to a leash, the dog is like, nope, mama's been drinking. Fuck that shit. I'm not gambling. And the
Right.
dog fades back. You don't know how to get the dog back up because the dog is going
Mm.
back up to heel. The dog is going like, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Right.
You are casting this mistrust. It's not, quibbling. It's just the dog is like, I don't know, I don't fucking know. So if you
Yeah.
bring food into that, which you're doing, you're going to get something closer than what you had before. But if you go away from the food and you pick up the leash, that dog's going to go right back because
Yeah.
the toys were situational, the food is situational, the leash is situational, and the harness is situational. Where are you the most consistent and you're both working together in a symbiotic relationship?
Just with the harness.
Yeah. So examine your relationship between you and the dog when that harness is on. Are you much more clear? Yeah. Is the dog more clear? Hell yeah. Does the dog trust you? Hell yeah. Do you trust the dog? Yep. But to be fair, you have to trust that dog a lot more than she has to trust you
Yes.
in the
Very
harness.
true.
So you better
Yep.
be clear, huh?
Yeah.
So
She
now
better
we take
be.
the
We're both dead.
well, you both better be. You start because
Yeah.
your very life depends on it.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand what it's like to depend on a dog for their existence. People
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it's like to not have the gift of sight and have to
Right.
rely on a dog for you to go out in the world and do your very hard job. That's a job for a dog. That's one of the greatest
Yeah.
places. But most people, if they're dog lovers and they lost their sight and they had to work with a guide dog, they're not thinking anymore about, is this mean to the dog? It's like, bitch, I gotta see. I gotta
Yeah.
not die here. I gotta not walk into a fucking open manhole.
Yep.
Dog, you gotta do your job. And what is it that tells the dog how to do its job? The job of the dog is don't drag me into traffic. Don't let
Yeah.
me walk off a curb. Don't let me go into an open hole. So it's the don'ts that keep you in charge and keep the dog focused. So the dog starts to
Right.
navigate on what am I supposed to do? That's the clearest thing in the world. That harness comes off, the dog loses the consistency. You're going to walk into traffic and the dog stops you. Do you start giving it cookies and toys?
I mean, no, it's just a good dog.
That's it,
That's
right?
it.
Because if you started giving it cookies and toys, the dog would just forget about the traffic and stop you every 3 minutes because you can't see that you're not at an intersection. The dog's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
give me another
Exactly.
cheeseburger. When you take that harness off, that dog becomes different.
Yep.
And if you don't realize that you become much more emotional, and I'm so sure that you're so grateful for this dog. There's no like I can tell how much you're grateful for this dog. But this dog is a dog, and
Yeah.
she loves you, she needs you, she wants you, but she doesn't say like, God, thank God she feeds me every day. You know, she got a bark
Right.
box for me. Did you? She bought a fucking bark box for me. The dog doesn't know that.
Right.
And so when we think that the dog feels the same way about us that we feel about them, that's where everything starts to go tits up. Why?